Hey guys, Hamsterwheel Gaming here with a new video, and today I'm going to give you some tips on how to make your leveling experience more smoothly on the Feenix servers. You see, apart from the Emerald Dream server, you level very fast, which means that you can enjoy the endgame content much quicker, but it also means that your gear and spells will become weak or even obsolete a lot faster, and if you completely focus on getting level cap as fast as possible, you're gonna have a bad time. So let's start off with tip number 1. Train professions. Let's talk about gathering professions. These professions are solely based on gathering mats for crafting items and will require you to only invest a little bit of gold into them. My favorite gathering profession is skinning, since you can do this while actually killing mobs for a quest. A good example are the mastery quests in Stranglethorn Vale, where you need to kill raptors, panthers and tigers. All those mobs are skinnable, which means you won't waste a lot of time looking around for mobs that level you're skinning. Apart from that profession, I'll leave it up to you to decide between the other two professions, which are mining and herbalism. Both will take more time to level up compared to skinning, because in order to find herbs or mining deposits, you sometimes have to take a little bit of a detour. However, both are worth leveling up, since they will make you a decent amount of money, which you will definitely need. You can also train professions such as tailoring or leatherworking. That way you can actually craft your own gear, and that will definitely help you stay up to date. However, these do take a lot of time to level, and they also require you to invest a fair amount of money into them. So I advise you to just stick with the gathering professions. Okay, let's move on to tip number 2. Only train your key spells. It's a good idea to think about what spec you're going to be once you make your character. For example, if I roll a mage, then I'll save a lot of time by going with just one spec through the entirety of the leveling content, such as frost spec. That way, I will only have to train a few frost spells and maybe a few arcane or fire spells. Abilities such as fireball, arcane missiles and such are things that I'll probably never use when I'm leveling, so I don't need to rank them up, which naturally means that I'll save myself some money. Tip number 3. Sell everything useful on the auction house. While leveling your character, try to hold on to as much useful items as you can. For instance, I was actually dumb enough to sell silk or wool cloth to a vendor, only to find out later that those items fetch a pretty decent sum of money on the auction house. Some random white items that I thought were completely useless were actually pretty valuable, and that way I missed out on making a lot of money. Don't be as stupid as me when I was leveling my first character here. Always check the auction house before you get rid of some items. Naturally speaking, this doesn't count for grey items. You can just vendor them right away. Tip number 4. Always check the auction house. Most of the time the green BOE items that you can buy off the auction house to upgrade your gear are pretty expensive. However, sometimes there are people that put green items on the auction house for next to nothing. So I advise you to check the auction house every time when you're in a major city, because who knows, you might just find yourself an absolute bargain. Tip number 5. Stay on the lookout for weapon and armor vendors. As I just said in my previous tip, the gear on the auction house will likely be very expensive. But there are NPCs in the game that actually sell some very cheap green items that will definitely help you along the way. I'll try to link a few of these characters in the description below this video. Do note that they only sell one of each item over a period of time, so they might be sold out when you talk to that particular NPC. Tip number 6. Level in zones that are slightly below your level. Let's face it, even with these tips you will still probably be undergeared, so I advise you to stick with leveling in zones that are 2 or 3 levels below you. This does mean that you will end up leveling a bit slower, but on a server where you level up 12 or 14 times as fast, this shouldn't be much of a problem and it will save you a lot of frustration. Okay, that's all the tips I have for now. I hope these tips were useful, and I hope you made your leveling experience a bit more relaxing and fun. If you have any tips you'd like to share, then feel free to leave a comment below this video. Thanks always for watching. I'm Hamsterwheel Gaming, and have a good one.